So what about what Stedman said?
Well, I do think that's interesting because Stedman says that he thought the reporter said to him, would she make a good president? And he said, absolutely she would. That's how he interpreted the question, because this is the thing. Stedman would never so cavalierly say, absolutely she would do it. It's up to the people. He would never do that. I got emails from people yesterday. But wait, no, I got emails from people yesterday that said, is Stedman being strategic or is he being supportive? He is nothing but supportive. He would never just throw it out there like that. What were you going to say?
Well, I'm going to ask you the same tough question that I ask guests on this show. In fact, Stedman did say she would absolutely do it. It's up to the people. That's what he said.
Yeah, he did say it is up to the people. But I'm telling you, his interpretation of the question was, would she? He thought she would. He thought the reporter was saying, would she be a good president?
Okay, is she considering it?
No, I absolutely don't think that her position has changed. I don't. You know, I was up talking to her very late last night. I do think this, though, guys. I do think she's intrigued by the idea. I do think that. I also know that after years of watching the Oprah show, you always have the right to change your mind. I don't think at this point she is actually considering it. But listen, there are people who have said they want to be her campaign manager, who want to quit their jobs and campaign for her. She loves this country and would like to be of service in some way. But I don't think that she is actively considering it.
For the record, that is
I don't think she's actively considering it this time.
That is a change from what we heard in October.
It's not a change from her, Jeff. That's a change from me. It's not a change from her.
Fair enough.
So let me ask you this. So let me ask you, who wrote the speech?
Listen, Oprah crafted that speech. She knew how she wanted to start. This was the thing for her. She knew exactly what she wanted to say, and she knew how she wanted to say it. She crafted the speech. She talked to an editor at the magazine, and the two of them came up with it, but Oprah put down exactly what she wanted to say. Those were all her words. You know, listen, she writes her What I Know For Sure column every week, every month in the magazine. She's a very good writer. We all know she's a very good talker. And so I think that it was a home run on many levels. I thought being in that room, I will say this, being in that room was electrifying. It was the right person giving the right speech at the right time. She wanted that moment to be more than women wearing black dresses of solidarity. She really did want to speak to young girls around the country. She really did want to say enough already. And I think she delivered on all that in a very eloquent way. But will she run for president? I think it's a very intriguing idea myself.
If someone were to potentially run for president, what do you think their timeline might be?
I don't know, Jeff. I'm just looking at this. Yes, she can. Nopra. If you took out the P, it would say Nora, which I think is intriguing. I don't think there is such a thing as a timeline. And I'm not trying to be cute here or be mysterious, but I do think it's a very intriguing thing that she had never considered. People said, oh, yeah, she wrote that speech as a launching pad for what she wants to do. That's absolutely not true. Mm-hmm. She worked on it. She rehearsed it. She practiced it. I was a practice audience member. Mm-hmm. And I have to say, I knew the speech was going to be powerful just when she was reading it at time. And you'll like this. Before, when she was there at rehearsal, they told her she had to cut 3 minutes out of it, because it was 6 minutes long. They said, you have to cut it to 3 minutes. And Oprah said, if it was any other night than this one, I could do that, but I don't plan on cutting it. As it turned out, with all the applause, it went 9 minutes.
Wow.
And I think they were very pleased. I think the producers thought, you know, that was worth going late for.
Right before flames consumed this 29-unit building behind me, Private Emmanuel Mensah managed to get out a family of 6, then ran back in, saving 4 others. Senator Chuck Schumer pushing for a posthumous tribute, and it looks like that persistence is paying off. Schumer explains that Mensah was able to evacuate a family of 6 from an apartment, and realizing how deadly the fire was, he ran in, saving the lives of 4 others. Firefighters believe that based on where they found his remains, he was still attempting to rescue others right before he died. The flames tore through the 29-unit building December 28th. Fire officials saying a child playing with a stove on the first floor was the cause. It spread quickly as the mother of the child ran out, leaving the door open, causing the fire to spread. In a letter to the Secretary of the Army, Schumer said that the military should honor and recognize Private First Class Mensah for living and dying according to the highest ideals of this country. Private First Class Mensah was home for the holidays after completing training and was waiting to begin drills with the 107th Military Police Company this month. This was his first visit home since he enlisted in the Army National Guard. The New York Daily News reports Mensa will receive a Medal of Valor and a Soldier's Award. The Soldier's Award is the Army's highest peacetime honor for bravery. It's given for acts of personal danger and voluntary risk of life under conditions not involving conflict. The Medal of Valor is awarded to those who display similar acts of heroism. Meanwhile, 5 people killed in the fire were laid to rest yesterday in Manhattan. Francis Holt, his wife Karen Stewart Francis, their 2 daughters Kylie and Kalisha, and the couple's 19-year-old niece Shantae Young were among those remembered. And family tells News 12 they'd like to bury those 5 in Jamaica, and they're currently trying to raise money to do that. There's still no word on funeral arrangements for Mensa. In Belmont, Katie Vasquez, News 12 The Bronx.
I'm Jill Wagner. Here are some top stories from Cheddar on News 12. Apple is responding to investor calls that it protect children from getting addicted to their smartphones. The tech giant says it will introduce new features that better allow parents to manage what their kids see online. The statement to Business Insider comes after 2 of the company's largest shareholders urged Apple to be a better corporate citizen and take more responsibility for how children are using their products. The little blue bird's giving out little blue checks again. Twitter announced last year it would pause its verification process to figure out a better system. Well, since then, it has unverified certain accounts, mostly of white nationalists. But in the past couple of weeks, some accounts have been verified, including Michael Wolff, the author of the new Trump tell-all, Fire and Fury, and Mick Mulvaney, the director of the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. Twitter, though, has yet to comment about reintroducing verification. And say goodbye to the pizza delivery guy. Toyota is partnering with companies like Uber, Amazon, and even Pizza Hut on an all-electric self-driving vehicle that could be used for various purposes, like autonomous pizza delivery. And that is your Cheddar business and tech update. I'm Jill Wagner from Cheddar headquarters.
Released on a $150,000 bond, Assemblywoman Pamela Harris stayed silent, mum despite the litany of charges against her: wire fraud, bankruptcy fraud, and witness tampering, among others.
But not guilty, and that pretty much says everything we need to say.
Prosecutors say she was involved in a number of schemes. She's accused of taking nearly $25,000 from FEMA for relocating expenses after Superstorm Sandy, but was actually living in her Coney Island home and pocketing the cash.
To hear she took some of that money, that could have been money that would probably people were supposed to get, to fix up their homes.
A couple years later, city council funds meant for a nonprofit she ran were allegedly redirected for personal use, both while she was with the nonprofit and after she joined the state assembly.
I am shocked. I'm actually appalled.
When she learned that authorities were hot on her trail, prosecutors say Harris instructed witnesses to lie to investigators. In a statement, her attorneys say the allegations in the indictment do not relate to her conduct in office. Her constituents, nonetheless, feeling betrayed.
She deceived the people. All the people in Coney Island that put their trust in her.
Just a couple of years on the job, up to 30 behind bars if convicted of the top charge. At Brooklyn Federal Court, Tony Chow, News 12 Nightside.
I should not have to put on a coat in my apartment.
Tensions are starting to boil over for these New York City Housing Authority tenants.
I worry when I hear the engines coming. I don't know whose apartment's going to go up because we're all using the stoves.
We need new boilers.
Tenants from the Vandalia houses, the Pink houses, and other developments stood side by side in East New York to say they've been dealing with no heat or partial heat inside their apartments for several days at a time.
When it was 5 degrees with no heat, it would get a little bit warm. Within an hour, it would be gone.
And the same here inside the Vandalia Senior Center. Now the seniors have been using a space heater in the dining room for about 2 weeks so they can eat in here and stay warm. And they say the heat in this room right next door just got fixed.
The center is taking a beating.
If you cannot afford to fix the boilers, if that is your concern and your issue, if you can no longer properly manage and upgrade and upkeep the quality of life for residents, then it's the residents that need to, at this point, take control of themselves.
Meanwhile, the New York City Housing Authority tells News 12 They are aware of the heating issues at the Vandalia Senior Center and are working to restore heat as quickly as possible. As for their other buildings, they're working around the clock responding to heating outages. In East New York, Nicole Ryan, News 12 Brooklyn.
All happened around 11 Friday night. The victim's son telling us a man who had been lurking around the super nice deli came to the entrance asking if he could use the restroom. When his father, Hassan Kasim, said no,
he started punching my father. At first punch, it was in his mouth, then the second one was in his head.
Jamil Kasim says his brother, who also works at the deli, rushed in to help, which you can see in this surveillance video, and they were able to grab a hold of the suspect's gun. But then he whipped out a second gun, shooting Hassan Kasim.
I swear I was, terrified. I was scared. I was thinking, something really bad happened, especially when I seen the ambulance. I seen my father was already inside the ambulance.
Luckily, 3 anti-crime NYPD officers in plain clothes were in the area and quickly came to their aid.
The officers just happened to be in the right place at the right time, based upon the deployment, precision policing, and they were able to apprehend the perpetrator and recover 2 loaded handguns.
A loyal customer is the one who flagged them down.
He seen a detective car and he went right in front of them and he held down the car.
Kasim was taken to Kings County Hospital and he was released from the hospital on Monday. As for the suspect, who has not yet been identified, he's in police custody and expected to be charged with assault and first-degree robbery in the coming days. In Weeksville, Emily Lorsch, News 12 Brooklyn. Even though it's been 4 days since the snowstorm, if you take a look behind me here, you can see it's clear that things are still not back to normal, with tons of snow piled up in some streets and on some sidewalks, like here on Flatlands Avenue. I spoke with a woman who is out here with her friend. She called him asking for his help in digging out her car. She left her car here on Flatlands Avenue before the snowstorm Thursday, and it's been here ever since. As you can see, snow has piled up around her car, and now they're hoping to dig it out this evening before it becomes more difficult.
I couldn't get anyone to help me, to be quite honest, so I figured if I waited a day or two, then it would be easier. It just got harder because once the snowplows came through, they piled me in, so I was literally stuck. The snow was literally covering my windows. I couldn't even get in to start the car, much less to even move the car.
And that woman is not alone. Driving around this area, it seems there are a handful of drivers who have also not shoveled out their cars since Thursday. They might need to get out a chisel as much of that snowpack has turned to ice due to this bitter cold. In Canarsie, Emily Lorsch, News 12 Nightside.
Hello everyone, this is Daryl Green with a look at your weather forecast for the 5 boroughs of the New York City metro area. Another very pleasant day is on the way out, and we are going to notice more in the way of clouds beginning to move on in. Winds coming in from a southerly direction. So with the increasing clouds and those southerly winds that will be fairly light as we go through the overnight, don't look for a big drop off as far as our temperatures are concerned. Radar's all quiet at this time. However, as we go through Thursday night, Friday, and into Saturday, we're going to have periods of rain that may be heavy at times. We'll have patchy areas of fog. And because of those warmer temperatures, you can expect some significant snow and ice melt. Could trigger some localized flooding. We'll keep you well advised. Over the next 12 hours, we're going to see our temperatures mid and upper 30s. And again, those winds will come in from the south. So again, not a big drop off as far as our temperatures are concerned. Overnight lows from the mid to the upper 30s with increasing clouds on south to southwest winds that will be light. Mostly cloudy skies in the forecast for Thursday. During the late afternoon, early evening hours, we'll start to notice a few sprinkles pushing through, southerly winds remaining light, and daytime highs anywhere from the mid-40s to the lower 50s. That's well above average for this time of year. We're looking pretty good across the northeast United States. Warmer conditions are off towards the southwest and will be moving in our direction. So you can see the clouds that'll be rolling in from the west. So those clouds will increase and thicken, and with the warmer temperatures, the snow and ice melt, we'll be watching out for some patchy areas of fog that may be somewhat dense in some locations. So just add additional time for getting around over the next couple of days. And don't forget about that rain. We're already seeing the brighter colors out towards the west, the yellows, and maybe even some reds out there. We might even have an isolated thunderstorm as we get into Friday. Temperatures up into the 50s and dropping back into the 30s and 20s as we go Sunday through Wednesday. Maybe some snow on Tuesday. Know before you go.